Hello my friends, it's Ranger Russ from the Meigs Nature Center. Having a little difficulty with the wind here today. It keeps blowing the camera over, so I'm going to have to hold on to it. Now, I was going to be going to do a traveling program at a place with a waterfall like I mentioned yesterday. However, we had a special opportunity today to do one of my favorite animals. So we're going to do one of my favorite animals instead of our park visit that was planned for today. I do also want to mention that I had a gentleman stop by after my program with the giant puffball mushroom. He found one in his yard and brought me a piece of it, probably a little less than half, I would say, but it must have been about that big. Size of a good sized beach ball. And I had some last night. It was absolutely delicious, just sauteed with a little garlic and onion. The puffball is just it really absorbs flavors really well. So a very tasty treat. So I want to thank that gentleman for dropping off a little piece of a mushroom for me. So today, my favorite animal is the monarch butterfly. And we are at the middle of monarch migration. They are flying from Connecticut to Mexico. Now, I have gone out and caught a few butterflies here. Can you guys see them? All right. So, there are actually three in here. The one that's fluttering around is the newest one. It takes him a little while to settle down. I had him in the shade because I don't want to get too warm in this little glass dome here. They are on butterfly bush, which is one of the flowers that they get their nectar for the strength for their migration. Now, before I get too far into this, I'm going to ask everyone to please put your location that you're messaging from. If you have a question or a comment, put them up at any time, but please put up where you're messaging from as well. Okay, so monarchs, they're getting ready to migrate. Now, there are generally about 4 generations of monarchs that create a cycle, okay? Their cycle starts, we're going to start in Connecticut, and that cycle will go from Connecticut to Mexico to Texas to the Carolinas and then back to Connecticut. And that can be 4 to 5 generations to make that cycle. So the generation that's leaving now, we're going to start with them. They live the longest, okay? So they are going to live 8 to 9 months. And they're going to fly all the way to one location in Mexico, right outside of Mexico City. They're all going to fly to this location around Mexico City. They live 8 to 9 months. When they get down there, they will breed, lay eggs, and then they die. Okay? The monarchs from there, that next generation, will fly either to Texas. We're going to go to Texas for this migration. They will breed and die in Texas. Their offspring will then fly to the Carolinas, where they breed and die, and the next generation flies back to Connecticut. And then that generation, the next generation, because they breed and die in Connecticut, their offspring will breed and die in Connecticut and just stay here in Connecticut. Some of them will stay. Some of them will migrate. So the next generation generally, though, is migrating back to Mexico. Now, on the route from Mexico back to Connecticut, they could skip Texas and just go to the Carolinas, or they could skip the Carolinas and go right from Texas to Connecticut. So that could be 4 generations, it could be 5 generations to make that whole cycle. Okay? Now, if you look at a monarch, you can tell the male from the female. Inside there is a spot on the wing. Hopefully that camera is going to stay. I'm going to turn the angle a little bit so it's not so much into the wind. And we'll say, just stay there for a second, because I also have a monarch that I caught in the net. So I'm going to show you. So monarchs are actually tagged from Connecticut. They are tagged. Here we go. You have to be very gentle. These little fragile wings here. They're not as fragile as you think, but they are fragile wings. Okay, so I'm just taking it out of the net here so that we can take a look at it. All right, so to tag a monarch, you take it like so, and there is a little sticker that you will put on its wing with a number. That number corresponds, is then registered, and you can tell if it is found in Mexico, where it came from. Now, if you look on the inside of the wing, you see that spot right there. That means that this is a male. That is a pheromone spot or a scent spot. There's a good vocabulary word. It's holding its wings up right now, but you can get a good look at the antenna. These are a beautiful butterfly. Now, they primarily, as caterpillars, they only eat milkweed. And milkweed is toxic to most animals, so that makes the monarch toxic or taste bad. Not necessarily poisoning, but it tastes really bad to most animals. Now, I'm going to let this one go, and we're just going to set it here and see if it's just going to fly right away. But let's see. Let's just let it go. They fly fast, okay? Now, their migration is 3,000 or more, depending on where they're coming from, miles. Now, if you look inside, the one that's closest here has a damaged wing. It is probably the older generation, and it is not going to make the migration. It may attempt it, but it's not going to make that migration down to Mexico. Now, I said the females are laying eggs, right? So they don't know for sure how many eggs a female lays. I always like to do a little research, and my research this morning found a researcher that has counted, a scientist, he's counted the number of eggs laid. But it's a captive monarch, and that monarch laid 1,179 eggs. That was the most he ever saw. Typically in the wild, the estimates are that they lay between 500 and 700 eggs. But they only lay one egg at a time, and they may only lay one egg per plant, or per leaf, or per plant, or per field. They may lay an egg in a field, fly to the next field, lay another egg, fly to the next, and they're only laying their eggs on milkweed. So it's really amazing. They lay these eggs one at a time, and they're just going to be, they have to spread out over great distances that they're laying their eggs. All right, let's take a moment to look at questions. It's a little bit tough today. We've got a good reflection going here. I want to tell you first, let's do the weather, because I thought it was going to be pretty cold today. Yesterday was chilly. Today it's windy, but it's a warm wind. It's a really nice wind to be out here. Now the wind, though, is coming out of the southwest, which is not great for monarchs. When we get cold fronts out of the north or east, you get a lot more monarchs. They go with those winds. They know, and they can fly faster with the wind. So this is not the best day. However, when I first got here, there were 2 monarchs in the garden. When I came out just before the program to catch these, there's probably 10 or 12 monarchs. And if I look over there, I'm not seeing any right now. When we're done with the program, we'll walk over and see if we can find any. But they are migrating through right now as we speak. Where do the sticker numbers get reported? So if you find one with it, I believe it's monarchwatch.com. We'll put that up on the website. But yes, you can report those numbers, and that actually helps track the monarchs. You can report where they're from. If the female lays one egg, lays an egg on a plant, will another female lay an egg on it also? So yes, there's nothing to stop another female from coming along and laying an egg near that one. Typically it's not going to be, just because there's so many places for them to lay eggs. But yeah, they're open to lay eggs, multiple eggs on a plant. That's family planning for you. Are their eggs toxic? So the eggs probably are. If the adult is, the eggs may have a bad taste. They're very tiny. Nothing really likes to, I shouldn't say nothing. There are things that like to eat them, but not a lot are able to eat them. The eggs are about the size of a head of a pin, and they look like a little gem, a greenish white pearl. Very attractive eggs. All right, let's look back. Linda, who volunteers here, she misses the display in the Nature Center about monarchs, and we're going to put, Lori Shaw does our display on monarchs. We're going to put a video up that she took of a monarch emerging from its chrysalis and expanding its wings. So when it emerges out, its wings are all shriveled up. It has to pump fluid out into those wings, and then those wings have to dry and get a little crispy before it's able to fly. Chasing Monarchs. Fabulous book. Oh. Chasing Monarchs by Robert Mitchell Michael. I'm going to have to look up that book. Let's see. Any other questions? Not seeing a lot of people. There's Michigan again. We've got, what other towns here? Uncasville. That's my mom. Hey, Mom. I didn't make it to the waterfall today. My mom wanted to know. She had to call and find out what waterfall I was going to. She couldn't wait till tomorrow, but it's going to have to wait. All right. I don't see any other questions. So if anybody has questions, put them up at any time. I want to remind everyone, you can watch these videos on our YouTube channel, Meigs Point Nature Center YouTube channel. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and then I can start doing YouTube Live as well. Hey, there's Lori. Hello, Lori. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, you can continue to watch these videos on Facebook Live, Tuesday through Friday at 11 o'clock. I'm going to be going away for the next couple of days. I will be doing programs. If I can find something to do a program on my vacation, I'll do a program from there as well. So keep an eye out for those. Where I'm going, though, I'm going up north, and it's looking like the temperatures are going to be pretty cold. Looking like down in the lower 30s, even into the 20s. Here we go. monarchwatch.org is where you report the monarchs. So I think I said .com. Emily is watching. Emily, did you eat the mushroom? Emily works here, and she got a piece of the mushroom as well. I wonder if she liked the mushroom. I liked mine. Okay. Any other questions? Love to watch flying over the ocean on their way to Texas. I hear that very often from people that like to boat in Long Island Sound, that they see these monarchs just flying by them. So most of the monarchs that are coming across New England, when they reach the coast, they make a turn and go along the shoreline. That's why we get a lot here, because any that are up in Rhode Island, they're coming right through here, and then the ones coming down are coming by as well. But some of them will go across to Long Island and then make the turn. Some of them go out in the ocean, realize they're gone too far, and then make a turn. And then there's always the ones that go the wrong direction or end up in the wrong place. So let's, I'm seeing a lot of, Emily, yes, delicious. She recommends the mushroom was the giant puffball. So it was twice the size of my head, maybe bigger. I don't think Emily believed me when I told her that she could eat it. All right. Oh, there are mimics. Yes, let's talk about the mimics. The Viceroy butterfly looks like a monarch. Very hard to tell them apart. Butterfly people, they just look at it and they can tell really quickly. Takes me a little bit to really be able to tell a Viceroy from a monarch. I think Viceroys are a little bit smaller, but the color pattern is just like a monarch. And that is to discourage birds from eating them. Now, there are a few birds that over the years have adjusted to eat the monarchs, but very few. There are not many that can do it. Off the top of my head, I believe the starling is one, and maybe the cowbird, but I'm not positive on that. Pretty sure the starling, though, does eat it. And starlings aren't even from North America. All right, so I think it's time to let these monarchs go. So we're gonna, let's see if we can get the camera set so that when I let them go, you'll be able to see it. Okay. I think you guys can see that. Let's move it this way a little bit. And they're going to take off really quick and be gone even faster. So we're going to let them go. So the bottom one, that one down there is a male. I can see the spot. And I don't know the injured one. The injured one is a female. And I'm pretty positive, because I caught this one, is a female as well. I'm really surprised they are not going anywhere. But that is cool. You think that a butterfly with their dainty little wings would just get blown away by the wind. This is also a good thing. When it gets really cold, what they will do under the branches of the tree, they will all line up under the branch of the tree, hanging upside down, so that when dew or frost comes, it won't land on their wings. So it's a little adaptation. And occasionally, when we've had great years for monarchs, you could go, there's a tree out behind the nature center loaded with monarchs. And the trees, when they get to Mexico, it looks like the trees are orange, have orange leaves, because there are so many monarchs on them. I'm really surprised that these guys are just hanging out here. They probably don't realize that there's no more dome on them, although it's awful breezy. I would think they would know. They've got a beautiful spotted body. It's a black body with beautiful spots on it. Absolutely amazing. And I believe the name butterfly came from Old English or possibly French. They were called flutterbys because they would just flutter by you. And that got changed to butterfly for some reason. All right, we're gonna... They really don't seem to want to leave, which is fine. I'll let them hang out. I like them. Let's see if we can show you. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to turn the camera around. Oh, another one just flew right in. Almost landed on the... It almost landed on this. One just flew right by. That was really cool. All right, let's see if I can show you the damaged wing. It's this one here, and it's holding the wing underneath, so it's really hard to tell. You can tell how windy it is here right now. All right, this allows me to see the question, so I'm going to take a minute and look. Will the storm affect them? So storms do affect them. Storms can prevent them or slow their migration, or if the winds are going right, it can bring them on their migration. And I'm not sure who from the Nature Center is saying, but we'll put up a picture of a Viceroy so you can compare it to the Monarch. I think that's a great idea. So we'll have a picture of a monarch and a viceroy. And maybe we can get some pictures of chrysalisks. And we do have the video of Lori has one of it emerging from the chrysalisk and expanding its wings. I should come film in New Mexico. Ooh, that's a great idea. I wonder if the state would pay for me to visit Mexico, New Mexico. I'd really like to go to Mexico and film them in their Mexico habitat. So it is possible that the wind blows them around and injures them, although they are pretty good at flying in the wind. And let's see what else. Oh, praying mantis, lizards, snakes, cool. That's New Mexico. If the powder on the wings comes off on your fingers, will they not be able to fly? So many of the smaller butterflies, that powder that you're seeing are actually scales. Their wings are covered in scales. And the smaller butterflies, occasionally those scales will rub off. But the monarch, it doesn't. I've handled them numerous times, and I haven't had any issue with the scales coming off on a monarch. Now, that being said, monarchs have been in decline over the last 15 or so years. A very steady decline we've seen in the monarch population. So I would really encourage people not to go out and catch them or handle them. Let them be on their way, observe them. A great thing to do. Many people really enjoy bird watching. You can do butterfly watching the same way that people do bird watching. You can get a pair of binoculars and watch a monarch from a distance, or any butterfly. There's also a black swallowtail was in the garden when I caught this last monarch that I caught. So I would really encourage people to observe them with binoculars rather than going out and trying to catch them. Great way to preserve them. So their wings are fragile. It is a little bit difficult handling them. Once you've done it a while, it gets easier. All right, let's see if we can get one of these guys to fly here. That's not doing anything. They're moving around in the wind, but they don't really want to fly. Ah, plant milkweed. That's got to be Lori. So a great way to encourage and improve monarchs' habitat and encourage them to be in your yard is to have milkweed. That is, again, the only thing that the female lays the eggs on. That's what the caterpillars need to survive. That's what they need to eat. Milkweed, there are some people that can just, throw a few seeds out and milkweed grows like a weed. I cannot get it to grow. I had 3 plants in my yard 2 years ago. Last year I had 1 plant, and this year I had 0. So milkweed doesn't really like my yard, and that's very discouraging because I want to have some monarchs in my yard. And I have an agreement here that we should not catch butterflies, observe them. And they do. They know the weather is changing. They can follow those weather patterns. And when the weather pattern is right, they will migrate through. We did a monarch tagging here at the Nature Center one time. Oh, there's one of those yellow sulfur butterflies over there in the garden. We're going to have to go over in the garden and take a look around. But we did monarch tagging, and the monarchs migrate from here. You can see them coming across the parking lot. And that day, there were probably 100 people came out to do monarch tagging, and there were hundreds of butterflies flying across It was a perfect cold front just pushing them through, but they were flying across the parking lot. All right, we're going to leave these guys here, and we're going to see if we can find some other butterflies over here. So this is going to be tough because that, and there goes another monarch. That sulfur butterfly just flew by. There are other yellow ones, but I'm pretty sure that was a cloud sulfur butterfly. Let's go over here. So the butterfly bush, even though butterfly bush is an invasive species, this is one that they love. And we've got one, and it flew away. We've got some bees. I also had a hummingbird moth over here this morning. So we're going to keep an eye out for those as well. See what other things we can find here. The hummingbird moth. Oop, there's a monarch over there. Oh, I can't get to that one. There's, oh, 3 on that bush right now. All right, let's see if we can get over there. I want to thank our garden volunteers. They do a wonderful job. There's 4 right now on this bush. So there's that one there. There's one over there. One just took off. And there's one just took off there. So our garden volunteers, they maintain the garden. They encourage you. You can see that one looks like a male. It looks like got a little spot on the wing there, or does it? No. Yes, it does. Has the spot. So we have a male over there. But again, the garden here looks fantastic. We have not just the butterflies that I'm observing and the bees, but we get other insects. I really love the hummingbird moth. They have a clear, here's another one over here. Hummingbird moths have a clear wing and a body kind of shaped like a hummingbird, and they will hover like a hummingbird. Really awesome. I don't know if you guys saw it, but the little white butterfly flew by behind this this monarch. I think it was too high for the camera though. And this garden volunteers committee for the Friends also tries to get flowers that are blooming throughout the year. So even, well, right now you can see there's a whole bunch getting ready to bloom right here. These look like mums of some kind. But at any given time, you can come out here from spring right until fall. There will be plants flowering, and that's fantastic for our environment. All right, great day for monarchs out here. I think, Lori, you should come out and tag if you have any tags. I'm seeing a lot of butterflies. All right, I'm going to take just 1 second, see if we have any questions. Let's turn the camera so I get a better view here. Linda says the garden is one of her favorites. Great atlatl program. Oh, I am not left-handed. The camera is mirror imaged when I reverse it so that I can read your questions. Although I do throw the atlatl left-handed, it's not as good as when I throw right. But I can do some things left-handed. Why named Monarch? I'm not sure how the Monarch got that name. It's really hard to see the screen right now. All right. Anne said she had an orange sulfur yellow color this weekend. First time in 35 years. That's awesome. I keep a list of animals. So most people keep a bird list. I keep a list of butterflies, I keep a bird list, I keep a list of mammals. I like to keep a list, keep track of all the different things I've encountered over the years. I actually also keep a list of all the animals that have bitten me over the years. That's a fun one. Kids always like to hear, oh, there's a black swallowtail. Let's see if it stays. I think it's already getting ready to fly away. All right, we've got a couple of monarchs right here. And I think the swallowtail left. It was taking off when I saw it. Oh well. All right, so I want to thank everybody for tuning into this episode of My Favorite Animal, the monarch butterfly. Please continue to watch our programs Tuesday through Friday at 11 o'clock on Facebook Live. You can see the recorded programs on our YouTube channel, Meigs Point Nature Center YouTube channel, and please subscribe to that one as well. And you can see other videos, or all of the videos, on our website, meigspointnaturecenter.org's Virtual Learning Center. And that little swallowtail is hiding over here on me. I don't know if you guys can see it. All right. Having a hard time trying to get that, but thank you all for tuning in. This is Ranger Russ signing off from our butterfly garden.